But there was a time where when we would talk about relationships and about getting married, and I'm content.
I don't want to.
We can't know your thoughts unless you
for
offer it to us. I wish I was born married.
More than ever, I had to be very, very open with God.
My sister, I begged God. I'm very shameless with God. Yo, I'm like, girl, I know that I'm not in your heart, but I know that you want to get married in the future, you know? Like what it is, what does the Bible name in terms of being a wife?
Good morning, you guys. Welcome back to yet another day. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we shall what?
Rejoice and be glad in it.
Alright, so I'm gonna do my makeup. In the meantime, I wanted to ask you, Leticia, what do you think about my last YouTube video, the sit down one?
I loved it.
You loved it?
I love it because of the vulnerability. I think that oftentimes in church, or don't judge me for using the stocking, okay, it's what works best for my buns or my puffs. But I think in church oftentimes we put a lot of energy and emphasis on, you know, being content and waiting on God and all of that, which is necessary, and it's a huge part of you know, Christian walk and singleness, even to make sure that you don't rush into the wrong relationships. But we don't always talk about how sometimes the desire is like, it's real, number one, but how there's so many little things that people don't do on purpose that could actually, like, you know, if you're not strong mentally, it could sink you into depression and make you question so many things about God. I liked when you talked about how, you know, a lot of people in your circle are getting married, and because of that, a lot of people are asking you when you're getting married. A lot of people, more people than what she even mentioned in the video, you know, are always talking about, like, so when are you getting married? Oh my gosh, I went to my friend's wedding. Really? When is yours?
Yeah.
I feel like it's something that can be so hard to deal with if you're not grounded. I feel like even if you're grounded, it's still stuff that will play in your mind after.
Strangers will ask, people you know will ask. Yeah, my thing for making that video was really to put an emphasis on the fact that obviously God's time is the best, and that, you know, like, just because someone else is having something at a certain time doesn't mean that you have to have it at the same time. That topic could cover so many other, you know, subjects, not just marriage, not just that, but for me, that's the tea.
As it relates to marriage, do you feel like you struggle sometimes with comparing yourself to others, to your friends and stuff, in terms of the things that you actually do desire that they don't yet have? I know that they have, but you don't yet have.
It's a great question. I feel like before, when I was going through what I was going through, maybe, you know, because when
too big,
it is quite big, but it's never too big.
No.
When I was going through what I was going through, maybe that would have been a feeling that I could say, okay, well, I'm actually going through pain because of a failed relationship, because of this and that, and then there's all this going on around me where it's like, God, why are you actually letting me be part of this? And it's not even like I'm part of it just to be like, oh, congratulations, like I'm actually planning you guys' wedding with you. You know what I mean? So maybe before, but I honestly thank God that I can sit here and say that I've never felt jealous or jealousy, which, thank God, because jealousy can actually be like a feeling that can lead you to do things that are not godly.
Sabotage.
Yeah.
And envy. What would you say helps you to, like, not fall into that jealousy, other than the fact that you obviously love me so much, so it's hard to be jealous of that?
I think, not to sound too spiritual, but the rejuvenated heart of just knowing that God has a time for everything, and God has a time for everyone. It's like, your time is your time, my time is my time. And also the fact that I'm a person who genuinely I said this in my video, I genuinely get excited for other people. Like, it's not even just like me putting up a front, it's actually just I'm excited for you.
She does, guys.
You know,
I have this short on my channel that I didn't even notice it until like it was posted, that it was like on the wedding day when the photographers were like taking a picture of me, and there is Anna in the background. She is literally like this. She's like smiling like it's her
Even
wedding
Joy
day.
noticed it.
Yeah, like she really does. And I feel like you planned the wedding like it was your wedding.
Yeah, I'm saying yeah, like yeah. But no, I actually like, I just love like when other people are happy, and it makes me happy. So it's like, you know, why not? Like, what, like,
that's amazing. I think that's something that God definitely sees and writes down in his book. So on the topic of the wedding as well, because guys, Anna was planning this wedding with me for like a whole year, right? And she was like at the forefront, to the point where it's like, I feel like when people were asking me questions about the wedding the day before the wedding at the rehearsal, I would look at Anna, because yo, I didn't know shishi. They asked me also, when is this? I'll be like, Anna,
when's that happening?
You know, she was like so much like at the forefront of the planning. So I know when you did that other video, your little getaway, you talked about how it impacted you like on a spiritual level as well.
Yeah. But
are there other ways in which it impacted you?
I think that even though I said, like, you know, God has blessed me with a heart that is not jealous, you know, I think that more than ever I had to be very, very open with God and be like, okay, God, like, you put me at the center of this thing where it's like Winnie was getting married and we were planning her wedding, and Leticia's getting married and we're planning her wedding, and there's all these other people getting engaged.
Mine just finished. She's attending.
You know, I'm attending a wedding in
December.
December, and it's like, for the first time in my life, I had to be like, okay, God, what is it that you're actually wanting me to see? Because there's no way that this is just, it's not by accident that the friends that he gave me are all getting married at the same time. Like, the carnal mind, I guess, it sounds kind of like, well,
c'est des choses qui arrivent,
like, it's things that happen. But then at the same time, when you look at the fact that they're all younger than me, that's another thing. I really had to, I wouldn't say it impacted me in a negative way, thank God, but it did impact me in the sense of like being more open with God and vulnerable and being like, okay, God, like, I'm planning all these weddings, you know?
Yeah. One positive thing that is not necessarily the wedding itself, but I think, you know, a lot of people getting married around you has brought to the surface that is good, is that, I'm not sure that she's talked about this on the channel before, but, you know, yeah, you've mentioned being in the trenches, although not all the specificities of the trenches, but there was a time where when we would talk about relationships and about getting married, Anna was, I'm content. I don't
like, okay.
No, I'm content. No, I'm content. I'm content. I want to be single now. You know, she was really in that phase, and I was like, Anna, like, it's okay to desire. It's
disturbing.
Yo, I'm like, girl, I know that I'm not in your heart, but I know that you want to get married in the future, you know. But, and it's not even that she was pretending, it was just that she had been through so much that it was, I felt, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I felt like it was also like a protective mechanism, kind of, to like no expectations, no disappointments, kind of thing. So she wouldn't even allow herself to desire marriage anymore. But I feel like with all the wedding stuff that has been going on, you know, I've been able to witness you say more, verbalize that you want marriage.
Whereas it's something that she would never hear
she would never say that she wanted marriage. So I feel like you being able to say it took it a step further, so that it's like you can actually pray about it. Because although God can give you something you don't verbalize, but it's something else. You have not because you ask not. So to be able to say it out and then ask for it does something. So that's a good thing about it. How do you find my edges?
Nice. It's edging.
agenda.
I feel like even me just talking about this on YouTube, obviously I'm putting myself out there where it's like people that know me will watch these and it's like,
yeah.
But I do this because I know, especially in the Christian community, there's a lot of people who, like me, maybe going through the same situation where it's like you see all these people getting married and then you're like, God, when? You know?
Yeah.
But it's like hanging there. And then another thing that I wanted to mention is that even all these things that we desire, it's not the end all be all. Like, I mean, we can get a perspective from you. Like, now that you're married. Yeah, now that you're married. I mean, it's something that you've always wanted. This girl wanted to be married from like birth.
I wish I was married. I wish I was born married.
Marriage is a good thing. Marriage is a beautiful thing. I wish I was born married.
Yeah, I feel like
It's not.
Yeah, tell us about it. Do you think that marriage has fulfilled something that was not there before, or like you're different now because you're married, or did you get that?
Absolutely. I feel like I'm more complete of a human being now that I'm with my other half. No, I mean, has it fulfilled something? Definitely, in the sense that the Bible talks about how a desire fulfilled is like, what is it, like joy to the bones or something like that. So there's always a fulfillment when you, even when you work towards something and you finally get it, it's like, ooh, there's a good feeling to that. But I don't think it's the end, in the sense that it's like getting married is one thing. They always say this in like Nigerian movies. You are married now, but it's staying married. That is something. But although I don't think that that's something that I'm worried about per se, but I think that everything is about us becoming more like Christ and glorifying God to some extent, but truly us becoming more like Christ. It's like there are things that I understand now, not just about my husband, but about God to some extent, that I didn't see when I wasn't married. Even in terms of like self-sacrifice and being selfless, like your husband is literally like your closest neighbor. So, you know, so I feel like in that sense, it's the object is not really like my husband, it's really God
working in you through the marriage.
You know, exposing things about you, about him, about my husband, that is, you know, to let you see that your husband will fail, your husband will fall short. You know, we have an ideal man in our minds which doesn't exist except in Christ, you know. And as you go through different episodes in your marriage, you will really see that God is the OG. You know, God is
the OG.
It's God that will hold you down, not any other person. And I think it's the same thing if you speak to Clement. He will tell you the same thing. Like, yeah, the wife is a gift from God, but she's not God, and she does not take the place of God, and cannot satisfy you the way that God can.
Amen.
What was I saying? Yeah, I feel like just being raw is something that a lot of people do not do, to even admit that is a desire that is like very present and they struggle with it. But in your case, like, how do you practically not let it like take over, even in terms of like the jealousy? Like, yeah, you're not a jealous person, but I feel like yeah, I feel like there's things that you do to guard your heart in terms of waiting on God. Like, what do you do? And also, if you talk a little bit about putting yourself out there, because you could desire to be married and pray about it, but if you stay in this your room and be doing YouTube all day, I mean, maybe you'll find someone that will see you on YouTube, but how do you navigate like putting yourself out there but not chasing after guys, per se?
How do I navigate putting myself out there but not chasing? Am I a chaser? Again, not to sound too spiritual, but prayer is the key, guys. I feel like there are times where you can feel like, okay, well, God, this is how I feel right now, and maybe, you know, it's right or it's not right, but this is how I feel right now. And I feel like I've been learning slowly to just bring those feelings to God and just be like, okay, well, whether it's right or it's wrong, this is how I feel right now, and even if I don't voice it, you see it. And the desire is there, most definitely. I feel like the way I tame it once again, it's just prayer and being like, God, like, nothing is happening in my life right now. Like, obviously you've put stuff on pause. Because when I was in the world, I feel like these things were so much easier.
Yeah.
But now that I'm in the faith, it's like you have all these criteria that you have to look for in a man. So then the amount of those men that fit those criteria is very, very low. It's like very, very low. So
By that she means the physical criteria. Because if it's about men that are in the faith, they're all around her, like, you know, they're just swimming there. But the physical criteria.
Yeah, so I just feel like, honestly, without sugarcoating it, like, it's just prayer, just saying what I feel to God. But putting myself out there, though, I don't know about that, because I actually don't go out like that.
You don't?
I don't. And why is that? Because I have these type of friends that live under a rock.
But when we're not there yesterday when we went to worship night.
Didn't we go to worship God? Did we go to look for ourselves?
Guys.
Very bad. Very bad, girl.
Whoever said it was wrong to kill two birds with one stone now. So I feel like you're in this season of waiting, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So my question was actually basically asking for how you're waiting. Is it just prayer? Or are there other things that you're doing to prepare yourself for when that person comes? You know, in terms of like you're waiting,
Yeah.
how are you preparing yourself for that? Because it's one thing to have the desire to pray about it, to pray a lot about it, but then what are you also doing to like prepare yourself so that when this man comes, it's not like, oh my gosh, now I have to do this.
Yeah.
So like, what are some things that you would say you're doing and you would also advise ladies
I feel
in
like
the waiting season?
waiting, making yourself ready to be a wife, because he has to find you as a wife. He who finds a wife, he who finds a girlfriend. Okay. I wouldn't say that I intentionally tell myself every day, okay, so today I'm going to wake up and prepare myself to be a wife. But I feel like it's the regular mundane tasks. I tell myself that, Anna, you can't be lazy to do these things, because one day you'll be a wife and you'll have to do these things not out of, you know, responsibility. I mean, yeah, but like not out of like being forced to do it, but like you have to love doing it, type of thing, you know. So it's like, do it now. So I can't give one example.
So from my side, in terms of some things that I did before getting married and preparing myself to be married, because I just got married, was like Anna said, to of course pray and lay those desires before God. Lay down when you're getting impatient, lay down when you feel jealousy creeping in, lay down whatever feeling you're feeling as it relates to waiting and not yet seeing what you're praying for, right? Another one was really to spend a lot of time to get a good grasp of what the Bible talks about womanhood and manhood, in terms of biblical womanhood, like what it is, what does the Bible name in terms of being a wife, you know, what does the Bible name in terms of being a husband, what is the role of a wife, what is the role of a husband, because that really helps you in your quote-unquote search when a man approaches you, to know what are the criteria that he should have in being your husband or being considered for that role, because it's a mad important role, because you will have kids that need to be raised under this man, you yourself will need to be submissive under this man, so it needs to be a particular kind of man, you understand? So understanding what are the signs of like a man that understands biblical manhood and that really understands that his wife and his children and his marriage come first, right? And then if I have that high expectation for the kind of man that I want in terms of what the Bible says I should want, then I owe it to that person and to myself to know what it is that a woman needs to be for that kind of man. So spending a lot of time understanding like, yo, what is the role of a wife beyond spiritual aspects, the physical aspects, you know, the how you divide chores in the house. Even sometimes, is that even biblical how you guys are doing it? Maybe it's working for you guys, but you know, is it something that is also sustainable when kids come, when you have a job, like all of those things, you know, considering your finances. These are more like practical things that I'm saying though, but considering your finances as well, because it's a fact that in marriages, one of the things that takes the most space in arguments is finances. So what are your finances like? Not saying that you need to be a balder or anything as a woman, a boss lady like Anna, but you need to kind of like, you know, look at your finances with an honest lens. Like, do you have a lot of debts? Are you doing something to clear those debts? Because when you do get married, depending on the couple, that's something that you will merge together. With me and Clement, when we were dating and we got like, you know, we already knew that we're going towards marriage, we already began to like merge our finances to some extent. So if I had student loans and everything, so I told him about the loans I had, if he had on his side, what was my plan in paying those off, so that you're not marrying someone and bringing in like your single life quote unquote choices and mistakes to him. And then after that, it's going to create so much conflict in your relationship. So just those little things. And then of course, guarding yourself with the word so that you can strengthen your husband when he's down, because two are better than one. And also how you will be pouring into your kids in the future. So I feel like those are little practical things that is enough to keep you like busy as you wait for God to bring the man for you, so that you're not just like waiting bras ballon.
There's this really good series, if you haven't seen it, it's by Voddie, Baucham. Know that one?
I know that one.
I'll put it in the description below. I think it's really good. It talks about, you know, more than just the physical aspect.
Do you find yourself in any of them?
Like doing them practically?
To some extent. I don't think it's something that is done overnight.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the learning about what to look for in a man, for sure. I think that has a lot to do with prayer as well, because obviously reading the Bible and praying goes together. But yeah, I think one thing that really changed my mind about what to look for in a man, obviously, is that series that I'm gonna put down here. Because before that, I had just gotten saved before watching that series, and then when I watched it, I was like, "Kit, there's more to look for
than what you even thought."
Yeah. And so obviously I think that I'm not as intentional as I should be in actually opening the Bible and studying what a husband is, like just on a regular day. But I have watched quite a lot of sermons in the past and in recent times, I guess. I feel like I have an idea, but then maybe
what's wrong with this one?
I'm very big on not being desperate. Obviously, it's not, even me saying it sounds so silly.
No, go ahead, there's nothing silly.
Like, I don't want to feel like I don't want to feel
can't know
like
your
I'm
thoughts
begging
unless you
for it.
offer it to us.
Like, I don't want to feel like I'm begging for it, you know what I mean?
Like begging God for it?
I mean, it's a good thing to beg God.
My sister, I begged God. I'm very shameless with God.
What did you say?
I tell God, like, yo, you already know my story about the whole vow, promise ring, engagement thing with God. But like, I begged God and I believed God. Like, I told God that, Lord, like, I'm not gonna look at anyone, and my prayer, like, I'm begging you to please let my first be my husband, be my last, you know, and held on to that. And I think God was very faithful in making that happen. But even when it wasn't coming, and when I would notice people Valentine's days being painful, I would tell God that, yo, you know, but I have seen, and I feel like from my story particularly, it's like I grew up in a house where I witnessed a marriage that was not a marriage. And I feel like very early on, God let me see that this is not what he intended for a marriage to be. you know. So it's like when I was begging God about this, I was like, Lord, I want a marriage. I don't just want a marriage, but I want a marriage to be, to the best of my abilities, how you intended a marriage to be, you know. So I'm gonna put in, you know, work from my side to be the wife that you intend to be, that you lay out in scripture, to resemble as closely to that as I can, and trust that you will bring me a man that resembles to that, bro. Like, I had nights where I cried and I begged and I was desperate. Listen, I was desperate. I'm broken over this thing, and I'm like, Lord, like, I really do want a marriage, and I'm not about to go out here and just jump on any man because he's fine and he meets my standards. And here I am going to church every day, and I'm not seeing any man that is fine, tall and dark and handsome, but you have caused me to desire that. So why would you bring that desire if you don't want to? You understand? Not desperate towards men, but with
no,
your
that's
God.
the thing. That's the thing. When I mean desperate, like, I don't want to, you know, ever be desperate towards men.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
want to see men when you need.
Yeah, because that one, they will sense your desperation, and your worth will, your value will go down.
Yeah.
But
actually, though, people take advantage of people. Eh?
Yo.
Guys, do you like my hair? I did it yesterday. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you've watched this far, what should they comment down below if they've watched this far?
That you like seeing me on her channel and I should be here more often.
Okay, bye. Okay, how long is it gonna take you to do this nonsense?
It's already done. It's just to take it out.
What lip gloss am I gonna use today, guys? Great question. Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh, you're so materialistic. It's so difficult being black. If you're a black person, comment what's the hardest thing about being black.
If you see a black girl on the street, give her a hug or something. We're suffering.
Guys, if you get married, make sure you fight once a month.
For fun.
Not fight like actual fight, you know. But as a woman, you need to do chakra once a month. Like, say, what was the chakra that I did? Yes, I was.
You're actually being serious?
I'm very serious. I mean, I don't schedule it, but I hope he doesn't watch this. This guy actually watches your channel, just so that you check that the love is still intact.
There's no other ways to check.
Let him chase you. Let him come to you and ask you, oh, what's wrong? Did I do something? And
you're like,
yes. And you're like, you know what? I don't want to talk about it. But babe, what's I need space. I just need space. He shouldn't give you space right away because he says something. That's that. Then you try to be like, oh no, but I can't. Okay, if you really want, when you're ready to talk, we'll talk. And I'm like, okay. And after that, you go back to him. You're like, so you just give me space like that? I'm not serious, by the way, guys. Okay, but I do chakra here and there for sure.
So you are serious?
To some extent. Like today, he'll come at church. I won't talk to him right away. I have to do chakra, and he needs to ask me why. Well, you didn't pick up my calls, but you want to talk to me now. And then after that, I'm like, oh baby, I miss you. These things that work. It keeps the relationship alive.